Hey guys, I wanted to come back and highlight another quick key topic when it comes to mortgage, which is refinance. So, refinancing, this is my favorite. Are you truly sure that a refinance would benefit you? Today, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the many reasons that and leverages that you can have when it comes to refinancing. So this is not financial advice. This is simply just my perspective, my expertise, everything that I've gathered over the years and what I've seen from all different walks of life here. And then I'm going to be looking at my notes too, so don't mind. But yeah, number one reason why people refinance is to save money monthly. So saving on a month-to-month basis is huge, impactful. When you see those numbers go down, or those getting into a lower rate, lower payment, your monthly budget, your payment amount goes down. That is like the number one, okay? And with that too, you can also make an impact on your overall monthly budget by refinancing your debt as well. So that's another key thing I'd like to point out there. But I have seen people getting into higher payments too when it comes to refining the mortgage, which sometimes it will make sense to do that. So I'll be getting into that here very soon. So with refinancing, you can definitely save some money by lowering your interest rate. During 2021, in July, I had 56 loans I had folder received. What that means is in mortgage world is that you have a client that has agreed to a refi, they sign all the documents, they submit all the supporting documents for income, things like that, and then you send your file over to an underwriter. So basically I had about 56 loans. My goal was 35 at the time, so that was my best month. I'll always remember that, but I remember seeing rates as low as 1.99, so it did make sense in a lot of situations. But yeah, I have a bulk of my experience was in refinance, so I know the ins and the outs when it comes down to it, especially with clients, consumers that are considering and just want to make sure that you're making the best decision at the end of the day. Okay? So reason number two, I have helped a lot of clients with shortening their term. Okay, so getting into a shorter term, 30 year to a 15. I mean, it could be 30 year to a 28 year. There's a lot of different creative solutions that I've came up with in my years of experience and helping clients out, giving options, this or that. So yeah, you never know what's truly going to make an impact in your life when it's just kind of knowing those options that are out there. So but yeah, lower term is nice because you can save money on interest in the long run, which can help. And then also with the life of the loan overall in your mortgage, you can just pay that thing off and not have to worry about it, before getting into your next move or whatnot. So number three. So reason number three, number one is to save money monthly. Number two is to shorten the term. Number three would be to access equity. Okay. I did make another video that goes through like the reasons for equity and the ins and outs of taking equity when it comes down to it. So I have that. You can visit that. But also, a majority of my experience is going to be with saving money monthly, consolidating debt, and it's just the time that we're living in right now too, it's huge, impactful. I see clients refinancing to pay off high interest debt, to pay off large monthly payments and help their budget, which is definitely impactful too. So I will make another video, just hypothetical situations, and then also the amortization schedule to kind of give you some more tidbits of info so you can make sure that you're making the best decision financially. But yeah, some things to really consider when you're refinancing is like, honestly, how long are you going to be in the home? Do you have a backup plan for your debts? What if an emergency comes up? So, when you refinance and you do take all your equity, you might be stretched. What that means is that there's not that much equity to take out unless your home value goes up again, which can happen, and I've seen it happen too on that way. But you don't want to rely on market conditions. It's always not the best strategy. In my opinion, you just want to make sure your peace of mind when it comes down to it. So another thing too, I've had clients take out the equity and just put it away in the savings account. It's not very common that somebody does do that, but it can help with those that are maybe like, going to be gifting the home to somebody or something. And they can really use the money to live off of for now. Medical expenses, there's just a ton of things that are unforeseen that you might not think about when it comes down to it. So just kind of make your best judgment. But I can help too with giving some recommendations as well, and just from what I know. Okay, so some important considerations would be, I did not mean to do that, would be closing costs. Okay, so you're gonna get charged those closing costs, but they're typically rolled into the loan, so you won't have to come out of pocket on those, which is nice. The one thing that you want to be aware of is that appraisal. So nowadays, expect to pay an appraisal fee of up to maybe $750, $800. It's pretty typical, depending on your area and everything, and the appraiser. There's different factors too. So I am not an appraiser, so I'm not really sure. But anyways, I have had situations where I've helped clients too. If the appraisal were to come over or under, I can get into that another time. But other than that, have a plan in place. It's just super important to just kind of be prepared. So say if you did have that appraisal and it didn't come back to what you wanted it to come back to, where you couldn't, maybe you couldn't refi at this time just because of value, you just know that you're going to be out of pocket on that cost because you ultimately pay for your own appraisal. Okay? And also too, some lenders are, waive it. It just depends on like the lender, the broker, who's doing what. Like sometimes you can get it waived too. Like appraisal waivers aren't really guaranteed, so I don't really like to start that way. But I always try to get them waived. In my opinion, I've had a handful of times where I have been successful in that. So yeah, reducing equity is the one thing to consider. Your equity might be gone. You might not be able to use it unless the value does go up. Then you have some more equity. Let's see. So just be careful about getting into a higher payment too. If you do end up refinancing, make sure it's not going to break your budget. Make sure it's very realistic. That's why I always like to structure my loans as 30 years, because you always have some leverage. You can always put more on your payments, and that way you are paying the home off quicker and your end goal, but you have some leverage. Okay, so some tools you can use. There are break-even calculators all over the place. Your lender should have some of those on their website, but yeah, just use common sense. What if I do this? What's going to be my impacts in the next year or so? Anticipate any upcoming expenses that you might have. I mean, Christmas is a huge expense here on my end, so I just try to get prepared for that. Just kind of know what you have coming up. Okay, and then yeah, you'd want to see where your break even is going to be. So say for example, you're saving about, we'll say $1,500 every month, okay? So you're saving $1,500, $1,500, $1,500. That's 3 months, $4,500, okay? So like in those 3 months, you're already saving a ton of money from doing that refi. But your closing costs. So say your closing costs are like, we'll say $6 or $7 grand. I'll just kind of keep things really conservative. So say if you have those closing costs, okay? But you're going to be in the home for like only 2 years, all right? So in this situation, the refi would make sense because you're going to recoup that cost. So in 3 months, you recoup $4,500, okay? That's just basically what you're recouping. And then, yeah, and in 6 months, it'll be $9 grand. So also, yeah, you're definitely saving some money, and then you recoup those costs within 6 months. But sometimes it's a little bit longer. Sometimes the benefits just outweigh that break even, so that might not always make sense if you know, depending on your goals. Like, say if I was remodeling my house or something and also paying off debt, my break even is going to look a little bit different in that situation, to where I'm getting cash and improving my home, so I have confidence that the value is going to go up. So it can look different in every situation. That's not like one end all be all. If your break even's not where you really want it to be, that's okay. Pulling out an amortization schedule to kind of see like a forecast in the future, when say like 3 or 5 years, like, you know, you want to move, you're just not really sure about it, but you know, like, you want to get out of the house in 5 years, okay? You want to downsize or upsize, whatever the case may be. Or like, you know, there's might be a job relocation or something else, external factors. There's a ton when it comes down to it. You know, maybe you have to move in mom or dad or somebody in the home. You're not anticipating it. You know, you have different things going on. If it just makes sense using that common sense approach, then just use your common sense, go with it, and just kind of know what you're getting into once you refied, and like, say that 3 to 5 years down the road, you was like, oh, okay, so I might not recoup then, but at least I'll be able to sell the house for this, you know, granted market conditions, all that stuff. But it's just some important information that you should know about refinancing. I'll be making another video here soon about the amortization schedule. Also, just kind of the math stuff, the nerdy stuff when it comes down to it. But other than that, just want to get that out there. I hope everybody has a great day and a great week too. Thank you so much.